I hope it is a coincidence that the citizen engagement workshop is the last one. The last one, to be honest, because I think it should be at the forefront of these kind of discussions in places. We have forgotten or left aside this topic for far too long. And I was actually discussing with the commission a couple of weeks ago that we were on a clustering meeting that we're doing crap on social engagement in general in the projects because we see it as a box to tick and we don't allocate enough resources and time for the processes to set in. So what we're gonna talk today is very likely the best of the best that we have managed to do in European projects. I'm really, really looking forward to it. My idea here, which everyone is just present, but also to discuss about this particular topic. I think everyone proposed some nice questions and nice topic in their own presentations. And that's it. I'm gonna start because now it's sharp 2 p.m. So I'm gonna start, and then it's myself, the first one, so I'm moderating myself. I don't remember if we have 7 minutes or 7 minutes we have, right, per presentation?
It would be good to not be more than 7, so
I'll be
7,
fast.
let's say.
I'll be fast, I promise. So if someone can time me, I will time everyone else. Raymond Sterling from Martin Solution, the Spanish branch. I'm the coordinator of the Interpret project. So Interpret is a bit of an odd project in the sense that it's not meant to be a social project at all. It's a project about interoperability of energy systems for positive energy districts. So it's all about how to connect different energy vectors and how to make computers talk to each other while they are optimizing the energy flows. But we happen to have a nice work package on social engagement that is going very, very well. The commission works, not mine. So I'm happy and proud about it. We have a nice team there doing this engagement in a way that is replicable, that it really takes care about the people's feelings and thoughts. So we just wanted to share this part since we just finished it in this place. So in the framework of positive energy districts, that unsustainable places and energy communities that we have discussed a lot, we have to remember that it's not technical, it's not just technical. And most of the technical part, from my point of view, is way ahead of what we can actually implement in real life. Okay, because we were discussing yesterday about the marketplaces and how to do peer-to-peer, which we can't anywhere. So it's really, really difficult for me to think why we are pushing forward so much these technical aspects and not pushing forward more. Let's go talk to the people. Let's go sit in a nice place. Let's go listen to them, because it's not about preaching to them what they should do on a technical aspect. It's about sitting with them and saying what they want to do with their pet. Because at the end of the day, we are engineers, most of us, and we like to direct and tell people what they need to do, but we are wrong. So we have to go with the right people, go there, talk to them, and then adapt our solutions so they are usable by the people, and therefore, if possible, they will make them their own. So that's what matters. That's what matters in positive energy districts. And that's what actually is going to create the behavioral change that will really push a different use of energy, a reduction of carbon emissions, and overall better and more sustainable energy systems. So don't mind the small talk or the small letters. All we want to say that in Interpret we have created a process, or we use a process for selecting how we can do the engagement, because it's not a one solution fits all. We have to forget about those solutions, especially in the social part, and we have to actually go as much as possible with individualized approaches to each community. Of course, there is a bit of framework because otherwise we cannot make publication, otherwise we cannot standardize a little bit. But the idea with this workflow is to show you and to show everyone that there are methodologies depending on what are we doing in the PET, who do we want to talk to, the typologies that they have there of the assets, how the people are engaging from the beginning. Some are more getting information, some are already working on it, so it depends on that. And then the different type of engagement that we can have, okay? Many times in a single PET, you have people that are very passive, they just attend, they're there, they like it, but oftentimes you have very active people that contribute. Oftentimes you have people that are there just to talk badly about the politician. So you have to know a little bit how to manage all these aspects. And that's what we have been pushing in Interpret with a bit of standardization and a bit of a nice active process. The first thing that we encounter, and that's something that we take for granted because at least myself, I've been working on energy for over 15 years, so I think I know a little bit about it, is that people don't really know anything about it. So the first step is to recognize that you cannot, people sometimes don't even know what is a kilowatt or what is a kilowatt hour and the difference between power and energy. So the first part is going to them with a nice framework, with not preaching, never goes to them like if they don't know anything. It's a co-creation with them, so their energy literacy improves. So they know what they need to do. They know what the graphics that we are showing to them mean. They know everything about it. So the project has created some shared imaginaries, that we call it, sorry because I didn't put it properly, which is basically 3 years, 2 minutes, perfect. Talking to the people about what they think, what is energy, then talking to them about correcting that part, and then creating in their heads how they think the community is going to be, how they think the community should be, how energy should be used in the community, and therefore making their own. So they start understanding everything that is happening there. That allows them to create user stories. The user stories are the basis that we use, and there are templates and ways to do it, that will then allow us, our technicians, do a dashboard. This is a generic energy management dashboard, but a dashboard that they will understand and they will use and they will want to use, depending on their level of literacy. So instead of going and directly here, which is what we always do, before we talk to them, we talk to them a little bit what everything here is and how they want to see it, because maybe they don't want this red, maybe they want this blue, or maybe they want to see another figure, they want to see a rabbit, I don't know, but it has to be for them. And in doing so, we created some model that we call the demand response awareness model that then will allow us actually to understand how people will behave and interact with the demand response, positive energy district, energy community, you name it, it doesn't matter. But it's a process that after the people is already knowledgeable enough on energy, then we can go and then we can start implementing demand response in general. Okay, so that was the approach that we took. This is all public or published. I didn't want everyone to read everything, no worries. I just wanted to know that there are simple steps that need to be taken for us to get to something that already do a simulation. Before we do a simulation, we were just talking to the people. And at the end, it's just that, not patronizing. We need to partner with them. We need to approach the engagement really on an engagement part. It has to be a participation that lasts through the project. It's not a one-on. It has to last for quite a bit of time. We need to prove energy literacy, and at the end of the day, we need to put in their minds what they want to do and then put that into images. And that's it for Internet. Thank you. We'll go questions later because then we'll group them together. And I'll invite now Benedetta Barchi from Rina Consulting on Fit for Pet.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Benedetta Barchi from Rina Consulting, and I'm the coordinator of the Fix for Pet project. And today I'm speaking about the strategic shift and engagement and impact in positive energy districts within the project. Okay, so a short overview about the project. So Digital-PED has a consortium of 17 partners coming from a wide range of countries in Europe. We have one lighthouse city that is Turin, and then 3 follower cities that are Cork, Budapest, and Kozani. Tips4Pet is rather a young project because it started last year in January, so we now just finished the first reporting period. So we have still to implement all the actions that are foreseen for the second half of the project, but we have placed the foundation of all these future activities. And basically the project has one big objective, that is to facilitate the creation of positive energy districts following all the phases to reach the positivity of the district. So from the feasibility phase to understand where we can deploy and build the positive energy district, the planning phase, and then the operational phase to monitor in real time what is happening within the PED. So through this integrated assessment platform that will cover these 3 phases, the project will support the municipalities in the decision-making process in each single phase to understand which are the action needed in the current step to deliver a series of KPI and impacts to the population and the stakeholder, but also to the municipality to allow them to take the right decision. To enhance the access to information, so to be more transparent, also to the general stakeholder that can have access to the platform. And this platform is based on a digital twin that can adapt and optimize the positive energy districts over time and space, also including some modules related to the financial, administrative, and regulatory support for the municipalities. So talking about the citizens inside our project, we have that, of course, cities now have to move from the installation of the renewable energy sources and all the aspects related to positivity inside the building, but we have to go to the district scale. So also considering all the energy flows that there are among the different building and part of the district. So the Tips4Pet project uses this digital twin that is able to transform these complex energy flows into more visible, understandable by all the municipalities and actionable. In this framework, the citizen, so the inhabitants of the PED and the municipalities, of course, are not only passive observer of what's happening, but are taking a lead role because during the creation process of the platform that will allow the municipalities to create the PED, all the feedback and the preferences of the citizens have been taken into account, of course, and are integrated within all the phases. And these ensure, of course, that the once created positive energy districts is not only technically feasible, but also accepted by the inhabitants of the districts itself. As I was saying before, the integrated assessment platform is at the core of the project, and basically it combines the real-time data with all the simulation tools that are present within this platform, and the citizen input and feedbacks, as I was saying before, into one single environment that will help the municipalities in designing, planning, and then manage the PED, but showing the clear result and clear scenarios to who is leading the districts, and also showing the real impacts due to the real-time monitoring, also to create this sense of transparency and trust within the citizens. How the Tips4Pet project ensure the equity, sustainability, and trust among the citizens. Basically, since the very first stages of the project, we organized different focus groups with the stakeholders of the 4 cities that we have involved within the project. At the very first couple of months, to understand which are the gaps that needs to be filled, the needs and the requirements that they have to create and to support the creation and the transformation of their districts. We also use some gamification method. In fact, one partner that is dedicated to the social engagement part created this game that proposed to us in the last GA that, of course, I've seen it, so it helped all the citizen that doesn't know what PED is, with also a glossary part that explain real kilowatt hours, the basic definition of the positive energy districts to all the users of this game. And through this game, you can recognize more and more what this means, and it has proven that this leads to a more engaging experience, also increasing the motivation of the end user, and also a sense of transparency. So once you know what we are talking about, also looking at the results, the positive results that the platform deliver, you can recognize which are the real positive impacts, and so the citizens are less resistant to change, and they are more willing to apply this new mode of thinking. And of course, through all this process, starting by merging the technological fields, the governance and the social acceptance, we are more able to build some solutions that are scalable, so we can lead to the creation of scalable PEDs for all the cities that need to reach the climate neutrality goals. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alexander from Syntaxis Athens. This is the Evolution project. No? Going too fast for me. Okay. Good. So, as the name implies, Evolution deals with the evolution of pets. The overall logic is that a pet, by definition, is not something static. It's not something that is set up on their own, so works on its own. We have a model of a little bit like an organism, a living organism, if you want, with a DNA, the genotype, representing the actual society where it's built, the technology that it uses, the interoperability, and of course the market where it's active. And then the phenotype would represent the potential, where can it get. And a little bit, if you want, we realize that pets are rather new concept as such, as a term possibly, but in reality, if we look at the broader definition, the broader ecosystem, let's say the broader evolution of energy communities, of this kind of communities or this kind of groupings where we have energy production, energy consumption, what goes in between energy storage, and a link between the producers, consumers, prosumers, or whatever you want. This is a little bit like its own ecosystem, but at the same time, it's connected to a lot more. So there we come up with a little bit with a concept of a super pet that could be, 2, 3 pets that sort of interact and possibly complement each other and cater for. One might produce a particular kind of energy more, another one might have more storage, another one might produce or consume a particular kind of energy in terms of time, in terms of other specifications. So looking at this evolution of pets, we like say, okay, what tools can we provide to support the evolution of pets that can be completely different from each other? So among these, one is what we call the social innovation tool, and this is the one that I want to say a little bit more about. What we say is that looking at a pet, then there are, of course, individuals involved, there is a specific community, there is a governance system, there is a specific technology, and then there's a broader context like the legislation, possibly financial support schemes, of course, the market where it operates, the greater economy, and quite importantly, the culture of all of these, of the people that participate. So there is a structured process in the way we look at the social evolution of this. There is a structured process from what we call PED scoping to understand what each PED, how each PED is set up, analysis, including community profiles, what action plan can we set up, again, in a structured approach, how we can support the evolution, and finally, following the evolution itself, assessing with stakeholder feedback. So to make a long story short, we foresee 6 let's say developer sites, demonstration sites if you want. 3 of them are already part of the project from the start, and 3 have been selected now under an open call, which was launched a few months back. The 3 communities, the 3 PEDs we are working on, one is in Germany, the other in Slovenia, the third one in Switzerland. And there is a saying that if you want to plant a tree, the best time was 30 years ago. The next best time is now. So a little bit in this case, I would say that we are definitely in an advantageous position because all of these 3 PEDs, even if they were not called PEDs, have been operational for quite some time. And this kind of evolution has been observed and, of course, has been supported in many ways. And now they have selected, along with evolution, to go do the next step. So that was actually 5 minutes to make sure that they will not surpass the 7. And looking a little bit at the previous point I made, that we have, let's say, this kind of structured approach, and we try to understand what the overall situation is. To make it a little bit more specific, in these 3 different PEDs, the colors signify which we are talking about. What's the type of PED? It's utility-led, it's community residential, the other one is industrial, the third one is community-led, but not with a particular focus in terms of what the consumption is. Then how is the decision made? In one case, there's a DSO, it's utility-led, there are prosumers, there are SMEs involved. In the other case, it's the DSO more or less on its own. Then the third one is an energy cooperative, okay, so a quite specific way. If you want a more democratic way through in its own DNA. What are the market relations? How is it involved? So in here, there's a market logic in the first 2 ones, but the third one is mostly focused on the self-consumption. So it was built to cater for its own needs. The engagement logic, how does it already involve customers as citizens as customers and customers as such? What are the, in the case of an industrial PED, of course, it's industrial relations, so a different kind, business to business, whereas the third one is community-based. And what are the strengths? Of course, there are weaknesses, but we focus on the strengths in the sense that we want to move further on. So where can we build on? So a trusted operator locally, the potential for solutions like waste heat integration, recovery, etc. Hydropower, also another part of the identity, if you want. So overall, is there a process? Yes, there is a process, but then when you look into each of those PEDs, of course, you have to really go deep into it and work with what you have. So, that's it.
So now Paula Vega will talk to us about neutral path.
And I think she has a nice game for it.
Yeah. Sticker and left the phone.
Okay. Hello. So I'm Paula. I'm from a company called 3 O'Clock. We are a social innovation agency based in France, but I am actually based in Madrid, so we have people a bit from everywhere in Europe and other places outside Europe. And I'm also here to present Neutral Path. So Neutral Path is also a project about positive and in this case clean energy district with this differentiation because the objective is also to do a climate neutral district. And in this project, what we are doing is we are developing also what we call the climate neutral labs. The project is working with 5 different cities. There are 2 cities that are developing pilots that are Zaragoza and Dresden, and there are other 3 cities that are fellow cities, so they are following the process and developing their own PCDs because at the end of the project they will have the developed proposal for new PCDs, and these are again Istanbul and Vantaa in Finland. So, something is missing. Oh, sorry. Okay. So we are developing these climate neutral labs with the living lab approach. Also, as it was mentioned before, it is super important to involve the people that are affected by these innovations, and to involve them in the process means that we have to create some type of ecosystem where we are allowing them to enter, no? And this living lab approach is helping us. It's not easy, but we are trying to make it real in this project. Living labs are innovation, real life environments where people are going to test innovations, they are going to give feedback, and they are going to help co-create with the co-creation, so involving in the design and the definition. And the principle is to put the people in the center, like to really listen to them. It's not easy in these projects that are very technical, and many times the solutions are already proposed. So how can we, on one side, listen to the citizens and co-create if we are already doing the thing? No, it's like, for example, this is the case of the demo cities. But it's very interesting how it's happening also with the 2 different type of cities, because in the fellow cities, for example, there's a room for this co-creation and for this input. So how did we set up the labs in Neutral Path? So the first thing is to acknowledge that each of the cities and each of the places, also the districts, is different. So we have to identify with each of the labs and really work with them. What are their objectives? What is the vision that they want to achieve with this project? What are the challenges that they have within their reality? It's not the same Istanbul than Vantaa in Finland. Is completely different reality. So this was the first step. Second step is to identify how things will be organized. So this is the governance model. We did something in this project that we created this process to develop the governance model of the living labs. We wanted to capture it, so it's in a guide that you can access in the project. And what we did is to, with this mission and vision, to really see what was the best way to organize, what were the stakeholders, and what was the decision-making process as well, and the organizational routine of these labs to make it work. And the last step, once everything is set up, of the operational and strategic framework, is to really put it in a roadmap of actions, like what are we actually going to do within this project to bring this living lab to life. No? So we define a roadmap. This project is 5 years, so we're in the middle of the project. And what we are doing as well is each year updating the roadmap, because things change and we have to adapt as well. So what is the role of the labs in the project? The first thing is the community engagement. So what we see, as also it was mentioned before, people don't understand energy concepts. Many times they are not interested because they don't understand it. And in this project as well, sometimes it's imposed, no, to them, like the reality. So we really want to make them interested in what is happening. So we had this idea to create this game. I know there are a lot of games now in this project. This game is for kids. When kids come, the parents come. So they become interested as well in this concept. So it's very interesting when you work with kids, because then with the kids you get to the parents that at the end are the ones that maybe you want to listen also to the kids. So we created this game that is about having your positive energy district. So your objective is to have 0. So you can buy products, you see behaviors. There are different type of cards. You can check the game later if you want. But through the game, we managed to do very successful activities, even surprising for us. In Zaragoza, we managed to bring 150 people to the event. Also, we gave ice creams, which is also very nice to attract people to this type of activities. But this is the opportunity for this were the neighbors that are going to be affected by the demo, and it's really nice to see the people interested, and it's the opportunity to have them engaged and then start this process of really asking them. No, it's like if they don't understand it, doesn't matter if you ask them, because they are not understanding what they are telling you. So this was also an opportunity. In Dresden, for example, we really did took the advantage to talk to the people in Zaragoza as well. Well, this was last year in Istanbul, where we also brought like an interactive exhibition of the project, so people could also explore what was happening. This is more focused for adults, not for kids, but it's also for them to have something attractive to check what is happening in this project. And also, as I was mentioning, for example, Ghent is a living lab that is very active, in participation. They are doing a lot of things with citizens, and they are really co-creating the PCDs because they have the opportunity. The demos are not there yet. At the end, the final objective of all this is the social acceptance. So we are now starting to evaluate really the project is the proposals are accepted, and we will work with them. But this is at the end the final or final goal, no? Because the technology can be successful, but if it's not accepted socially, it won't be successful, basically. So that's it.
Thank you, Paula. Now, Veronica from Ascent. I'll take the final word. So you are welcome. Ready, one. Down. Down is forward. No, the button down. There you are.
Good example of bad co-creation.
Exactly.
It's not intuitive.
No, forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Veronica Serna. I'm from 20 Communication and from the project called Ascent. So we're a sister project of Neutral Path, equally in the middle of the length of the project, almost at the end of the implementation phase. We have 8 demonstration sites across Europe building PCEDs, 2 lighthouse cities, Lyon and Munich, and then 6 what we call multiplier cities. And the reason why I'm also here and I'm going to be talking about the game and the business model assembler is precisely that we have multiplier cities, not follower cities. We have cities that actively throughout the length of the project actually are taught and encouraged and have their own budgets to actually scale the solutions. So in the project, we have already the scaling by design from the start, because we have built it with cities that have been a part of the SEC project, SEC1 or others before, and identified that we cannot just pilot and then nothing, but that we are actually going to build PEDs and PCEDs that are going to be scalable. And actually, depending on who you ask, our goal by 2030, the ambition is to build 200 PCEDs PEDs, PCDs across Europe. So hopefully we will manage. We took a bit of a different approach. I think somebody already said it here, and we've had it in many of the discussions. PED is a process, not a setup solution. So in the Ascent case, what we do is that we organize in each city this urban orchestrator that is managing and creating all of the components of the PED on that one particular district. And through that orchestrator is the way we actually then try to also scale it up and engage the stakeholders on the local level. Okay. When we say that we want to actually deliver PCEDs and then try to do pilots and experiment, what we really, however, mean is that we need to deploy them and then we need to really scale them, because the 200 of PEDs are not going to happen just by themselves, and we cannot have them stuck by the pilot trap. The pilot trap is a kind of an expression that was coined by one of the business models working groups that basically just said that many of the projects and many of the cities just get stuck into this kind of everlasting module of getting a grant for something, implementing something, having a great solution, having a great technology, and then kind of nothing, because there is no further way of doing that, because there is no business model and there is no financing. So we focus on the fact that not only we have great solutions, not only we have great innovations, but we actually need to build viable business models with the cities so that they are able to multiply these solutions and that they are able to reach the 200 PEDs one of these days. That actually needs then not only the business model, but also the suitable financing that goes with it, and also governance or an organizational scheme that will be able to support this on the long term. So we don't look only until the end of the project, but beyond, by 2030 and longer. 5 of our cities are actually part of the city's mission, so they incorporate that into their plans, and we really want to take that to the next level. As you could notice, one of the key questions is how do we actually design viable business models, especially with cities? Cities, kind of by design, are used to different type of financing than the private sector, and are not able to get out of this loop. They are usually stuck in that pilot trap due to the fact and that they are heavily reliable on funding. So with the business model assembler, we actually try to bring them together to the needs of the investors and potentially other VCs, so that they, one, speak the same language, B, that they are actually able to build something that is an actual business model. That's not just a project model, but really a business model that in an ideal case would be able to be profitable in a kind of a okay scenario, at least break even and keep continuing. So keep the multiplication and the scaling up effect, as I've mentioned. In very kind of a practical sense, we are we've built also a game. We call it a game to not for the gamification process, but for the fact that it's something that you can make it more tangible and bring cities around the table, bring the stakeholders from around the city around one table, discuss the elements of the business model, because similarly, like what we have said before, people do not understand any of the energy terms, cities do not understand any of the business model terms. So we base it on an actual business model canvas, which is a widely used terminology and a scheme, but adapted for the city, adapted for the city funding, with cost and revenues adapted to the city. We've organized 7 workshops, more than 200 people across Europe from the cities that have been so far trained, and we guide them through the game. These are physical cards that they can kind of put on the table, they can write on them, they can check them, and we discuss with them all the various elements of what are on the cards. So they're looking at what it is, how it can be financed, how the revenue can be generated, where do I have gaps, what kind of structure and what kind of governance do I need to create in order to make this actually possible. And then thinking about whatever the customer of the city is, rethinking that the citizen, maybe not the citizens are all the customers, but there are other types of customers, not only citizens for a city. In this case, when it comes to the business model, and then what kind of value can I provide to these types of customers or to that kind of customer. We guide them through the full implementation. So taking one of these multiplier cities, and I think I'm getting over time very quickly, so I'm going to speed up. We guide them through the whole design of the prototype and of the solution, so that they can actually see from the start how a business model, how a viable business model looks like. This is done in the workshops together with experts from the University of St. Gallen. And we are now basically looking at building it all online to, as I said, to scale it up in a much larger scale. We cannot scale these workshops that much as we would need. So trying to kind of do it not only in person, but also online with the support of the online game, which we basically translated these cards, built them all fully online. They are all available on the Knowledge platform, and people can download, write, check milestones, etc., so that they can, for example, save now in 3 months and check it with their team in the city, etc. Just one last thing, and I'm done. Sorry for the length. The next step then is that we were working with R2M actually, with their French office, to actually add then the sustainable financing schemes to this model, so that once the business model is identified, that we actually see then what kind of financing could be suitable for that kind of model, and based recommendations on that. And that will be the outcome of the Knowledge platform of the project. Thank you very much.
Next we have Marcello Curci from ARV.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, it works. My name is Marcello Curci. I work for Abitec, and I'm representing the demo. I'm working as a demo leader in ARV for the city of Trento, where what I'm presenting here is just one small part of our demonstrator, which consists of different parts. And but before starting, just a few words about the ARV project. ARV is a Horizon 2020 project. It started in 2022 and it lasts until the next year. It brings together many partners, 35 partners from 9 countries, and it works around the concept of climate positive circular communities. That means wide-scale implementation in urban areas, typically districts and neighborhoods, of solutions to achieve net zero gas emissions, and energy flexibility, circular economy, and social sustainability by integrating 3 pillars. End users, they could be residents, homeowners, but occupants in general, regenerated or new buildings, energy systems, and all of them enabled and facilitated by the use of ICT solutions to provide attractive, resilient, and affordable solutions to all. The CPCC are complemented in all cases by living labs, as we've seen before. One of them is in the city of Trento, but we have 5 additional demonstrators representing more or less all the climatic zone in Europe. And as for Trento, which is a city located here in Italy, in the Alpine region, we experimented the direct engagement of some homeowners in the monitoring phase of a renovated building, a three stories renovated buildings, private one, where an hybrid renovation took place by using at the same time business as usual solution, so an ethics system, and at the same time a prefab kit that was developed by a local manufacturer. It is a timber-based prefab kit. In this case, the objective was to evaluate the technical performance and the end user's perspective at the same time. One peculiarity is the fact that people living in this building are elderly people, so it was quite challenging to involve them, but also interesting to get their information and perspective on what happened, especially when coming to the use of innovative technologies. So the approach was to use at the same time quantitative and qualitative analysis during the renovation works, especially regarding the detection of dust and noise, comparing the two technologies, and after the renovation took place. So they were involved in an indoor environmental quality survey. Okay, the first, so about the detection of dust and noise, in this case, the residents were involved in 2 rounds of interviews, one after the installation of the ethics system. You can see here some pics from the renovation site, and one after the installation, which was very quick, in fact, of the prefab kit. And so different renovation stages were technically compared against the occupants' perspective. At the same time, during the renovation, also short-term noise monitoring using sound and noise meters were put in place. So we had at the same time the technical and the qualitative, the social perspective. So the qualitative results were quite interesting because the prefab kit results resulted noisier compared to the ethics system, but for a very limited time because it took much less time to be installed. And 100 of the residents perceived lower dust levels, and some of them much lower dust levels than compared to the ethics system. The second engagement regarding the indoor environmental quality. So after the renovation, a survey was disseminated to detect any perceived difference in winter and summer conditions after renovation between ex-ante and ex-post renovation works. After the renovation, in parallel, our technology and research partner, the University of Trento, installed some sensors there to detect also, in this case, the technical dimensions. Also, in this case, the qualitative results were interesting because it was quite obvious in both cases that the thermal comfort was improved as an insulation system was installed in both cases. For both technologies, visual comfort was perceived as equal as before the renovation, whereas some issues appeared when the respondents were asked to distinguish between indoor comfort, thermal comfort. So additional explanation was necessary by the interviewers in this case. Yeah, the follow-up of all this was an engagement workshop to the benefit of the Trento community in another part of our demo, where the main part of a living lab is established. So with tangible, concrete example from the POVO case study, we reached the result to discuss in an interactive way with policymakers, with the citizens about sustainable technologies for home renovation, and also about something that is not really easy to understand and to explain. So the possibility to establish some one-stop shops for integrated home renovation services. And last slide, some lessons learned from the POVO case study. Yeah, qualitative research and social dimension scanning can actually be complementary to quantitative results, even when quantitative results are a bit different from the perception from the inhabitants, but both parts can have a dialogue and work together. Early stage engagement contributes to the social acceptance of new technologies. We have early stage engagement that facilitated the onboarding of these residents, who were quite skeptical at the beginning, a bit suspicious about this new technology, and also the use of these sensors devices in their dwellings. Community leaders are important to involve. In their case, building manager was crucial to have them participating to site visits, to open their dwellings for the inspections and so on. And yeah, keep the message simple, understandable to non-technical is pivotal as well for favoring the full understanding. And finally, concrete case studies, as we have seen in the engagement workshop, can inform a better understanding about new technologies and also maybe enhancing possible replication on a wider scale. And this was the last one. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Lucas from Comunitas.
So I'm gonna touch a bit different aspects than during the previous presentations with regards to co-creation, but in the context of UX UI research on the digital tools. I'm representing Comunitas projects, which one of the main goals is to provide around 11 tools for the energy communities. The tools are mainly focusing on the knowledge sharing, management of the already existing energy communities, but as well to help new people to start planning the energy community, to manage the demand response, or to optimize the energy flows. And one of the parts of this project is so-called social policy labs here in Comunitas, where the whole activities with regards citizen engagement is happening. And the small task which I personally lead in the Comunitas is the UX UI research. Already we saved a lot of good feedback, insights, and knowledge about the co-creation, so I will not repeat that again. But a part of the UX UI is sometimes being omitted within the process in terms of going deep into the usage of the technologies. So to have these UX research studies being implemented in the Comunitas, we established a small methodology within STAS, which belongs on testing the tools. We have in Comunitas 3 sprints, development sprints, and after each of them, we have a small task related to the UX UI. So after the first sprint, there was a free testing of the demo versions of all these tools, the platforms that are developed in the Comunitas. And after the second one, me personally, and of the ASM company, we came in with our biometric studies. And we are using particularly the eye tracking methodology with the hardware from the Tobii company, the eye tracker, which works tracking our eyeballs movement on the interfaces. Together with these eye tracking studies, we perform a service using the very popular part of questions, the system usability scale, to get the knowledge with regards how they perceive the current tested version of the tool. Beside that, during the not during this eye tracking itself, but afterwards and before, we also speak to participants to receive some knowledge from them. What are the benefits of using eye tracking? We receive an unconscious data of the participants. In the service, they are telling us, for example, that the interface of the demand response tool was very good. I found everything, but on the tracking, we see that the time for the we have the area of interest. So we put it, for example, on the login button, and we saw that they said, okay, they found it, but instead of 3 seconds going to this point, the average was like 10 seconds. So we assumed that the login button was in a wrong place or had the wrong color, wrong icon, and then we go deeper into that during the interviews face to face with them. So this allows us to receive more data, not only the subjective one, how they perceive, but also the data from the biometrics. And recently, I've been conducting those studies in 4 countries. 3 of them were pilot sites in Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands. And we also conducted the tracking in our headquarters in Łódź, but we are not the energy community, but we invited to our research people that are working at power plant in our city. So they were also a bit familiar with things connected with energy. But on the pilot sites, we have a variety of people with higher digital literacy into this kind of tools to compare also statistically how it works with different people. We have also persons with visual impairments. So this also allows us to modify all the interfaces in a better way. Some results already that we received. You can see here's these are the outputs of the data that we receive, the fixation path, so the path they are looking at, and here where the site is focused more. And first of all, they were really happy about participating in the eye tracking study. For many persons, this was something new, like a science fiction thing. When I was explaining how these infrared rays are working, so it was nice. They were happy to participate in that. They were not worried about the face recognition things because it's not working like that. The general engagement satisfaction was from moderate to high. And what is important, as I was speaking about these buttons and icons, there were a lot of confusing zones on our interfaces. So the places that they, in our opinion, and in the opinion of the IT developers, they should look at it, but they do not. And another thing that our eye tracking can monitor is the cognitive load. If there is too many information, we monitor the time of when the eyes are closed, how many blinks they are having. And the third one is the typical one, that the information should be really straightforward with short pop-ups and instructions to be displayed. And I was already speaking about the icons. There was a few icons for the calendar and for the choosing the between the Shelly and Galvati devices, and it was also not recognized as a button to switch between those smart plugs. Just as a final quote, the co-creation leads user ownership and to relevance. So they feel that they are also co-creating the tools by themselves by giving the feedback. And now we are in the process of creating the final version of the tools. After the report I sent to the IT developers, they will upgrade this. And later on the final version, we will conduct another 4 studies in another pilot sites to check whether they improve the tools as the feedback was from the participants given, or there will be still some areas for the improvement. So in general, I strongly encourage you in your projects, if you have an opportunity, to use eye tracking and biometric studies for the IT products and the software. It really gives a lot of opportunity and feedback to really prepare a good tools. And that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Now we have LegoFit with David.
All right. So LegoPit is also focusing on energy positive homes, so we are focusing on residential, which in this case, our project is more, again, technically related, but somehow we need to, of course, involve the residents because it is the main issue. So it's a project of, project of 4 years, and it's 6 million budget and funded under energy cluster in 2022. And we are 17 partners and representing 10 different nationalities. Yes, so how will we develop these energy positive homes? We are developing it in 5 different cities, in the 5 different pilots. Guadalajara from Spain, Istanbul from Turkey, H from Hungary, and Betson from Luxembourg, and Nguyen from Eindhoven, Netherlands. And we are applying the LegoFit is important to apply the physical implementations, but also the digital implementations integrated with the physical implementations in terms of active, passive solutions, integrating smart management technologies. So we, of course, also value the replication, and we are building an umbrella platform. It's called LegoFit platform, consisting of these different tools and services integrated for the design stages of energy positive homes and also implementation stages of energy positive homes for the experts, building professionals, but also for the residents of the houses. Okay, so from the on the right side, you see a kind of a big picture of the LegoFit platform, consisting of, as I told you, the different tools and services, such as the BIM environment is in the heart of the platform, and most of the tools are integrated with the BIM in the BIM environment, which is accompanied by the energy models, the digital twins, and also BMS systems, and we also care about not just energy, but also the sustainability part, the clean, actually, concept of the improvements, and circularity is in our radar. We have deconstruction platforms, digital deconstruction platforms, circularity passports, digital building logbook, etc. In the LegoFit platform for the use of experts and residents. And what we aim is not just technical impact, is also environmental, circular, economic, social, and certification impacts as well. So today I'm going to just focus on the Neighbourhood pilot, and I'm going to show some really physical results of what we aimed at, citizen engagement, and what we got from the residents in terms of technology acceptance models, which is also one of our KPIs. So this Neighbourhood pilot is consisting of 17 single-family houses, new construction. I forgot to say that we have 5 pilots, 2 of them. The Netherlands one and the Luxembourg are new constructions, whereas Istanbul, Cage, and Guadalajara ones are renovation projects. So this is a new construction, and each house, each Each single-family house is accompanied with PV panels, batteries, single batteries for all, and EV chargers, bi-directional EV chargers, etc. Of course, this, as I said, in the platform, all the pilot houses, they are modeled in the new environment, but also with the energy management system integration. We can also integrate the real-time data in the digital twins. And on the right side is a matrix which shows you which tools are being used at what stage by which stakeholder and in which action, in which intervention of the houses. So yeah, the results of the interviews that we had with the residents in this pilot, we could just talk with 7 residents already, but of course the numbers will change. But I would like to just show you, what we are aiming, what we put the target at the beginning of the proposal, and what the result is perceived by the people who are really living in these houses. Okay, so for example, the overall preferences. If you compare the simplicity or the control or the mix, okay? So the first insight is most of the households, they clearly prioritize simplicity, okay? They prefer a system that just works without needing any control of it. Just as you see, one of the 7, they said that I strongly prefer maximum control of the system, but most of them, they don't care about it so much. So they want minimal involvement mostly, and prioritize just ease and user-friendly system under the direct control. And they also are open. Prefer, some of them also prefer a mix, openness to automation, but also desire to override options. Okay, I'll be controlled, but sometimes I can have a chance to, check stuff and check the real-time data and control of it. So, and control is niche, as also indicated here, because it's just one family said that we can take all control of the system. And the strategic message could be energy management systems and these platforms should focus on user-friendliness, because they don't want this control so much, and automation while still offering visibility and manual override options for broader acceptance. Another insight for the desire of live insights, real-time view, so as you see from the graph, majority want live visibility. So they don't want to control so much, but they want to see the results, like how much energy maybe I saved this month. I don't know how much cost efficient is in this month, etc. So, and the automation acceptance, the universal support for automation when comfort is not affected so much is also another insights that I may share. And the priorities, always the cost first. All right, it's not mostly about sustainability, but mostly about the cost. How much cost efficient is this for me, or how much is the payback period for this system that I paid a lot, while I buy this house. All right, and another thing, we also provided them some scenarios, critical scenarios on the grid control signals, the heat pump pulse, battery reserve, and EV charging limited to non-congested times, because in the Netherlands now the regulations are being changed actually, and they are not just limiting the energy production on site, but also the energy consumption. So because of the stability in the grid. Okay, so people are more. It seems that people are more flexible with heat pumps and batteries, but they are a bit cautious about EV charging because of this. When they sell it to the grid back, the bi-directional charging stations that have, they are not, I think, so much. They don't make so much profit. That's why they are a bit. They are taking precautions on this. And as I said, the vehicle-to-grid systems. So, for example, in these houses, we are now maybe converting the system not vehicle-to-grid, but vehicle-to-home. So that would be more efficient for their use. All right, the last slide. We also have organizing this open days and roundtable workshops with the stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders. the one that we had just last week actually in the Netherlands pilot. For the open days, we opened the doors of the houses to the people, the other residents, and also some stakeholders as well, and to show the work in progress, yes, the technologies that we provide in the house, and how the people inside the house are using them, etc. And for roundtable discussions, we are launching the Legofit platform to the building professionals, energy utilizers, utility suppliers, etc. And then show our results. So, thank you. If you have any questions.
So last but not least, we have Stavros on citizen transformation.
So welcome on my side as well. It's the last one. It's going to be short, I hope. I'm not going to get a lot of your time. I have a quite interesting task to say to match most of the previous presentations. We had Danish community, we had about PEDs, so it's good to see what are the discussions of the Commission about combining them, what will be like the future, probably having some ideas. Today I'm going to present the citizen innovation, which is basically an initiative, a direct contact, a tender from the Commission, from DG Energy, which basically have been working there like for more than 2 years. With the main idea of having the citizens in the driver's seat, which is like the main idea and the main purpose I would say of today's session as well. That's the way, I mean, what's our assumption, which basically we wanted the people to feel stronger, to be motivated, and then feel free to act, which is also related to the pets and the communities. And we think always doing things, but it's time to start motivating the people, start motivating the citizens and everyone to try to dare proceeding forward. We had till now 2 phases. Now the third phase is launched. Basically, in the first phase, which lasted only 1.5 years, we had only 4 pilots consisted of energy communities, but also clusters of energy communities union, how it's called. Where the numbers were quite low, we were like having 4 pilots, 4 lighthouses, 6 followers, and the neighbors board. It's quite important to say that the neighbors board is consisted of MEPs in order to guide us basically on where like the diplomacy and all the political framework is going there. Now in the second phase, we're having 6 pilots, 15 learners, 38 followers, and of course the neighbors board with the new MEPs, the new elected MEPs that are being there to support us. We're having 6 pilots, 3 Italians, 1 in Hungary, 1 in Belgium, and 1 in Spain. The Italians have been selected as a 3. It was a legal opportunity with application form and everything, but Italy is having the more and the most, I would say, numbers of energy communities. It's important to say, as we're going to see in some of the next slides as well, that again, the aim was basically to empower the communities, but not only the communities. We're not focusing only on the energy communities. We focused also on cities, we focused also on one-stop shops, we focused also on municipalities, regions. I mean, it doesn't matter the scale, that's what we're going to see in the end. The main purpose was to empower the citizens in order to be in the center and to be in the driver's seat for the renovation. Not the renovation, they have to do it. It's not like someone external could provide expertise. So basically, the service has been developed for you, for everyone, for all the citizens, in order to strengthen the community building, to assist in replicating different projects, and of course, to help the community to overcome multiple issues, multiple barriers like the financial, the administrative, and the legal. This is the 6 main pillars that we assisted most of the pilot and the consortium, of course. We assisted them with a project management, administrative procedures, and monitoring. Business case development with ecosystem build, which is quite important perspective of the energy communities, as they really need support in this one. The project pipelines and investment plans, as most of them, as we're going to see later on, are focusing on renewables, are focusing on investments in RS, similar to the PEDs. The preparation of the technical designs, of technical support being provided by the experts, and of course the communication and engagement. As I said, we had 3 different categories of the communities or like municipalities or cities that have been involved. The first one is the pilot, where in the pilots we had the 6 of them in the second phase, and in the next phase going to be much more. And basically we are system in the 6 pillars that I presented previously. Then we have the learners, which is basically one step down with a little less government, but still a little bit people support. That said, we had the one-on-one consultancy by experts together with each one of the Danish community in order to assist them motivate and start developing their own initiatives for the innovation project. By renovation, of course, is the involvement in the renewable energy solution as well. We're not only limiting it to the building sector, we're enhancing it a lot. The interactive activities and of course some comprehensive learning patterns like how to proceed, how to renovate, how to community engage, how to put how to motivate elderly people. That's why we're having the Hungarian pilot, as it is like a town with mostly elderly people. And of the followers, it's just there in order to get the insights or the learning materials down to guidance sessions and of course the networking. As you notice, we have already built a quite nice network of Finnish communities, more than 60. The third phase is going to be more than 100 or so. A little briefly about the pilots that we're having now. I'm not going to read it a lot. The main point is that I'm going to say is that the renewable energy target that most of them are having. As you can see, most of them are renewable energy communities, which is quite related with the renewable energy sources. The first one is mostly focusing on the renewables that are related with the air, like the wind turbines or so. The second one is related with rooftop solar PVs and biomass, and of course the third one, it's trying to find some solutions to mitigate the energy poverty. The third extra, as I said, is the village from the Hungary, which is quite impressive example of elderly people. We are trying to motivate elderly people, a quite hard task. The second one is it's quite interesting pilot as well as Girona. Here we are discussing the main pilot is consisted of the governmental authority of Girona, the council itself, together with the 5 Danish communities. So we're trying to develop the whole ecosystem of Girona in order to proceed developing. But main focus there is the retrofitting of all historical buildings, which is quite a challenge to try to include some RES, renewable energy sources, in all historical buildings, museums, and everything. The last one is Zudriak. It's in Belgium, which basically they were trying to support the heat network expansion in order to try to connect some villages, some cities in order to get to this point. What I was said is that, as I said, it's my task basically was to see to connect and to try to give you the insights of what we're discussing a lot with the commission. Is basically how to connect two of the huge references and the terms that we were seeing everywhere, like PEDs and Danish communities, how they're related. So for the CLR, we're talking about the bottom-up approach. We're starting from the citizens, when citizens actively participate in designing, implementing, governmenting, energy renovation, and of course the local energy project. But apart from the metrics, as I said, it goes beyond that. It goes to empower the communities to develop local energy solutions, and of course, integrating social, financial, and behavioral that I mentioned. On the other side, the positive energy districts, it's the neighborhoods that produce more renewable energy than they consume. That's basically the term. In order to ensure this efficiency, flexibility, and circularity. The pairs require multi-level coordination, as we see from the energy communities as well. Combining digital tools, technological innovation, as previously developed by most of your projects, and of course, governance and community engagement. And that said, I mean, we can scale the citizen-led innovation, moving up from the Danish community or for a family or something, much more from a single meeting or community intervention to a district-wide perspective. How we can do so? Of course, we're starting from the citizens, go to the Danish community, and then we have to try to at least establish some neighborhood clusters that could later on be named as PEDs. I mean, the PED is quite a specific term. No one can be named like that's simply a PED. It has to be like a neighborhood cluster, a district, and later on to get this title. What we believe it has, we split it in 5, if I remember correctly. Dimensions, which is basically all the main perspectives on how this would happen. So basically, we had the enabler, how this would happen. In each specific dimension. We're starting with a governance, which is citizen inclusive models like cooperative ownership, participatory budgeting, local energy offices could support this scale-up to take part. The technical, the digital tools that Lucas and all the others presented, and the interoperability, the digital twins, the building passport, the data-driven renovation planning, financial and non-financial, it's always important to keep involving the local ecosystem together with the ESCOs. ESCOs are there to help, not benefiting from our money or like benefiting from the energy of the positive energy districts. They are there to help, they are going to support with either contracts, energy contracts, or on-building financing. Social behavior and agents, and of course trust. That's why, as we saw from LegoFit and from other different projects, the co-design workshop, the awareness campaigns, and of course the energy literacy, as we saw in the beginning. And the last but not least is the policy. It's one of the hardest, I would say, perspectives that at least we are focusing a lot, which is basically try to embed this citizen-led perspective, this citizen-centric perspective into the analysis on the social climate plans, into the IPPD. At least for the social climate plans, we did our best as we were supporting them a lot. For the IPPD, we hope sometimes to be included. For the NESPs, as you can see from the latest update, some parts are there, but it still needs a lot of enhancement, a lot of improvement, as citizens are not still in the core. It's like top-down approach, but it has to be like a bottom-up. I think that's it from my side as well.
Thank you very much. So we're a bit early. Well, some time for some questions and discussions. So first, before launching our own set of questions that we just compiled, I would like to know if anyone has any question for any of the speakers or comments.
I have a few.
By all means.
First, for LegoFit, you mentioned that there was an open houses. If that flats are already have habitants, or they are just showroom?
No, they are already people living inside.
Okay, so they were not.
But none of them are very collaborative way of opening the doors.
Just wondering if they will.
We visited one of them just. Okay. But we could see all the implementations and yeah.
Second, to Marcelo, how long was the period of installing the facades?
How long?
Yeah.
For the rest of it kit, less than 1 week. For the but it was applied only on two facades. The rest of the building was made of ethics, but in any case was really different time, renovation time.
So two walls, 2 walls.
Out of 8.
Okay. Still.
Yeah, it was like a small installation, but it was the first real case for this technology, so it was important.
Those two.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to?
I had one, but I can't find which project it was about.
Just launch it and then we'll reply.
I think it was for the tests you did with biometric data, etc. So the question was, you mentioned confusing locations, I think. So they were not made on purpose, if I understand correctly. You found in practice that people got confused in certain areas where you wanted to attract them, but they sort of ignored them. Can you?
There is apart from the heat map where we see where people are looking at, there is a reverse heat map. So it's the places where people are looking at are dark, and in white spaces we see where they did not look at all. And it occurs that some of those places where they did not look at, there were some informations or buttons we wanted for them to be clicked or to be read. So then some places where they were looking at were empty. So the output is very clear. move those spaces, brackets, or whatever it was, the icon, to the place where they were looking at. Because they were like looking for something on the dashboard. There was nothing, but that thing was somewhere else. And because of that, we can move it around the dashboard and to decrease the time they are spending on single page.
And second part of the question, because this does not just have to do with screens, as most of us, I think, will know, when looking for the butter in the fridge, women will usually find it immediately, and men will simply ignore it because it's, let's say, half a degree from the place we expect it to be. So it's we know that women have a much better peripheral vision. So where there are differences in the results you got by gender.
Yes. There is a difference by gender, and there is a difference by age. For the sample starting from 18 to like 35 and 35 above, you can see a difference on where they are looking at. So we are trying to make some average composition of the dashboards and the interfaces, because you cannot do a few dashboards. You are choosing language, and you then can choose your age. It's too much clicking and too much work to make simply the different dashboards for different groups. The one thing you can do is the WCAG. This is a framework for visually impaired people, when you can change from the white to the black background. You can make the change of the contrast and the size of the fonts. This is something easy to be applied.
I would like to have a complimentary comment on naturopath, actually, not a question, but my kids played the game when they did play in Istanbul, and I would like to share something about it because in my daughter's school there was this homework about what can you do about energy efficiency at home, and then every child, they were just saying, okay, turn off the lights when you don't use it, nothing else, okay, because they are not so aware of course, these technologies, nothing. So, and after this game, she was like saying, okay, maybe we can, use small panels to produce electricity, and we can use the heat pumps. And so, because the questions are not technical there, but they are providing you, in the answer, and it's a game, so, you need to win, and you listen, etc. So the awareness is really raised through the game. So
I would have loved to see the teacher's face like talking about heat pumps.
They're teaching it somehow through the game.
Good.
That's from the psychological point of view. It's good to, I think, involve kids, as they have a really huge impact on parents. They can influence them. I also appreciate that the game was made, and it was made analog one, not the digital.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
Yeah, no, that's very good. We also have kind of a similar story in one of our energy communities where we were involved in the school. And then, of course, this is done, and then to reinforce my speech before, by social scientists, with engineers, with them. The only part that we contributed here is like in the school, they decided to run an energy audit, and the audit was done by the kids. So we provided what the energy audit was, and they transformed that into a game for the kids, and it was amazing. They become so interested. Then they were with the concierge, asking this person all these questions, was driving the poor guy crazy because why is this done, and what's the heater here? This is too hot. And then we made them also, after everything, we made them paint the front wall of the school, and it was very interesting how what they learned was put into these paintings and everything. So it was very, very curious on this side of involving kids, and they become very aware, very focused. They can focus a lot on one thing very, very quickly. So that's Yeah, and then the parents are behind. So you can then teach some painting, and you are talking to the parents. Yeah, the energy community. You have to do this, you have to do the other. So it's a good thing, I guess.
It should be like a normal daily curriculum, this kind of workshops instead of a lot of math or history. And I think that practical things should be teach the.
You're opening a Pandora box there.
Yeah.
Whether we should be taught how to live our life and not how to be productive in school, it's like very, very tricky. So we have an extra minute if anyone wants to have other questions. Otherwise, we can.
Yeah. I'm not so sure if you want me to speak.
No, I want people to speak. So I just say we still have 1 minute.
Okay,
And we can go 20 if you want.
Okay, no. The bullet is on you.
And we are not obliged to respond.
So my main concern is basically after going through all the presentation, at least today, I noticed that only one city, the replication of the tips for PED in Kozani, is the only just transition area which is going to be targeted. And my concern is like most of the PEDs are being developed where the cases are like nearly positive energy districts when they're just converting positive energy districts. Why we're not just do the biggest change and try to target the just transition areas, which is basically going from the worst examples to the positive energies, and we're just fixing the ones that are close to the positive energy. Why we just take the big step?
Because the commission asks you for nearly PED cities, so you.
Yeah, but still, Kozani is one of the cases. I mean, I was close to work to the tips for PED. I mean, but I was included.
Yeah, okay.
But that's the case. I mean, the just transition has a lot of finance there, and they can be quite easily. They are installing a lot of renewable energy sources, a lot, like a million. Kozani has 3 months of renewable energy sources, literally 3 months of solar.
I cut down some of my slides because of the 7 minutes and I was still too long, but we, for example, in the multiplier cities, we have a huge mix. In Prague, you have basically, until now, you don't have any renewable sources of energy of the district that is being built, and they need to rethink the whole thing from scratch. So definitely not, it's just that it was not mentioned specifically in, for example, my presentation. In Budapest, it's very similar, and in Charleroi as well. They need to completely even rethink the way that they power their energy. Plus, then there's also the security issues, because a lot of them were depending on, for example, gas from Russia, etc., etc. So there's a lot more that's coming into the multiplier cities than what I, for example, presented, but was more focusing on on how to build a business model, because that's another concern.
I don't know how representative our mix is today, but yesterday there was another workshop that also involved quite a few positive energy neighborhoods, I think, and some districts. And I'm aware of examples of locations that are under this just transition umbrella. I think there's 2 topics, however. One is that the locations themselves have to want this. And Kozani is rather specific in the sense that it already had, for example, heating, how do you call this? District heating, which I think is rather unique in Greece. And then in other cases, I think we've seen that the just transition funds are used a little bit to stall, even though there's a lot of energy, renewable energy being installed. It's not that it's actually integrated in the actual community logic, apart from certain funds coming from the profits of the renewables into the location. So I think it's a mixed issue. However, I think there is an excellent opportunity, which I think I'm happy to discuss afterwards, to have a focus of, let's say, positive energy district projects, just, let's say, for, or very much, let's say, 70, 80%.
I mean, the impact there is going to be like huge. And they're already wanting it. I mean, last year was in Beleni, and they are really looking for this support, but they cannot get it as I said, the commission wants the clear closed positive energy to just give them the title. So
Yeah, I mean, in the topics, what I have found, R2M as consultancy, proposal writing consultancy, our work is to win projects, and normally
that's all of us. I mean, we have to listen.
But or what we see many times in the topics, and something we have been discussing also with the commission, is that they are too prescriptive sometimes, so they don't allow you to do things outside what they are putting there. And then on the ones that I have been involved in positive energy districts, they are, for example, mine, like Interpret, since they wanted to test interoperability of systems, they wanted things that were already working. So we already had to have very close, it was the topic description, you have to be very close to PEDs. Now we're building one for a proposal for February that is like you need to have a super high share of renewables, a super high share of storage installed. So they are very, very prescriptive, and then you find very few that are very advanced because otherwise I don't have it. Conversely, in Interpret in particular, we have Alba Julia, which is making a jump from nothing to everything, because yeah, and they're late on everything. Just because this is in Romania, because they got like huge funding from the Next Generation, from the Recovery Plan funds, and then they are installing, refurbishing, and doing everything, and it's lovely. But at least for my project, it's like, okay, you are doing nothing, because of course our budget for them is like 200K, and they have 3 million from the recovery plan. So I say, I'm not gonna compete with you on that. So install your stuff from the recovery plan. Let us help you there. And I think they're doing a good job. But that's just by chance that happened. But I agree with you that we should try to show how to do the full process in this kind of projects. I'm also very defendant with the commission. And you remember my discussion in the cluster about going one step further with pre-commercial procurement processes, so they do it through innovative path, but not typical procurement process, and then we go and build up the replication part of it. We had a big discussion 2 weeks ago in process about it. So how to replicate everything for the cities that are lagging behind, and how to push them to do that. And it was very interesting on that side. But yeah, I agree. I agree with you on this stuff.
I have another question. If you guys don't want to go for coffee yet.
There is something. We'll stay the ones we want to talk.
Do any of you concern yourselves with business models and for the financing for the scaling up, or not, or yes, or
yes?
Because to me,
Yes.
it seems like I'm always like the odd player out, that everybody is doing citizen engagement, which is something that we have done in one of the CC projects before. And now we kind of took most of the cities into this one, and we really want to focus on the business models and financing, because we see like that's a huge gap on the city level, basically, on how they think, how they understand what business model is. And everything.
On the mixed financing mostly.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like,
Yeah, in Neutral Path, Ghent, for example, had two sites, and one is cancelled just because the business model, like they worked for 2 years to develop it, and they realized that the business model was not feasible.
Okay.
So they will not move forward. So they are really struggling. I mean, they are struggling with many things, but they are focusing a lot.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe very close.
Maybe they can also talk to Charleroi, because Charleroi is developing a business model on their end. Depends on what it was, but they have a new energy sharing model there.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe
In Ghent, it's more on community development. Yeah. The University of Ghent also very highly interested in this research. Yeah.
In Petvolution, the German side wants to take over Germany. I mean, they say, okay, they've been working for quite a few years there, and their logic is, okay, we want to cover our needs. Now we want to sell energy to to the rest of the country. And that it makes much more sense because, Germany is importing various occasions energy. So they say, it's much better, much more logical that we have their surplus within and we sell it, closer to home. So I think in the case where there is already a background, I said we are in an advantageous position because some have started as energy communities, some have started as industrial initiatives, but because they have sort of integrated their requirements within their, even if it's a basic business model, still their logic has been to cover their own needs and see how it goes. Now, looking at the next step, I think the ambition is growing. So the logic also, as you said, in the other three, which are the ones that came from the open call, our expectation, at least, is that they will be going further. And then one of the tools that is coming out is precisely the logic of this business model innovation tool that they can use and see, okay, does it work? I think that overall that's the only way that it will work. I mean, otherwise, even with the logic of repower, you also want to be more self-sufficient. There's initiatives that are local, regional, national, European. Yeah. I'm sorry, and going back to the just transition, one very practical issue which might be of interest is that many of those locations have not yet done the electrification switch. So they were based in coal, they were based on fossil fuels, and their heating, for example, is based on that. Like
Kozani has done it for the district heating.
Yeah.
They are burning electricity to do the district heating.
Yeah, because they had.
Yeah, but it's much more CO2 emissions. It's not really comparable with Intelligent.
Yeah, so precisely the logic there is say, okay, in order to be able to do it, then you have this intermediate step of electrification. Yeah, and we have other examples, by the way, of doing it completely wrong. There is a Greek island that I won't tell you which one it is, where you can take your electric car and charge it for free, but the energy is produced by a fossil fuel factory behind behind the mountain in the island.
Not a Tripoli, I guess, right?
No, it's not a Tripoli. It's much closer to Athens.
I just wanted, first of all, thank you very much for all your presentations. I'm Erika. I'm here representing Blossom. It's also Horizon Europe project. And what we do is similar to the comment that you just mentioned. We are trying to connect such projects. So we also have frontrunner cities and follower cities with, we're trying also to focus on renewable cities. So we are trying also to invest in these topics. And we are trying to connect them with banks. So we are trying to be the connection with this, for example, Lisbon is a frontrunner city and they have an amazing project of having green roofs, renewable energy, wind energy. It's just amazing what they want to do, but they need the funds to do it. So Blossom is really trying to do that and connect them also with investors. And we have banks in the project, so they are really helping us in reaching out in the proper target message, also from a communication perspective, and to see what's the return of investment if they invest in that specific project. And it's all local, so the challenge is also it's culturally different for Lisbon, and we have another country, we have Poland with Kills, and of course the approach is completely different, right? Even the way you present the project.
It would be great to connect. We just to kind of react on that very quickly. We've been working on the business models and financing task group of a lot more projects than just Aslan before, on a proposal of a fund. We've discussed that at the PED cluster, that basically to connect the cities and the investors and the VCs and bring them together and de-risk a lot of that investment. So it would be good to know how you do that locally.
We just started. So
okay.
Where are we? What's our name? But it's also from an insurance perspective. They are also insurance companies
exactly.
are very much involved. It's
about insurance companies in terms of financing, as in.
As well, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
so
it's
that's
also about climate change. Floods and all of this.
We had them in terms of the de-risking as well. Okay.
On my side, I'm not that positive, I would say. What troubles we were facing is basically the legal issue, which most of the energy communities, the positive energy districts, which we're collaborating have. And we tried at least to support them. So we try to have like a window, like to skip the whole legal perspective with each on the couch. Especially, I'm talking about Hungary, Spain, Norway, and Finland, which basically their legal system doesn't allow to test or like to sell like specific terms, I would say, from the positive energy to others. That's why we developed the one-stop shops there. We give the one-stop shop the authority to manage all the extras, either of the energy community or the energy sources. And based on that, as the one-stop shop, you can take the risk of testing different business models. We're testing 7 different like innovative business, financial business models there. Co-financing, mostly or mixed finance grants like public-private or like whatever you can imagine, as they could take the risk. The positive energy district or energy communities cannot handle taking the risk, as if the risk fails, like they would risk like their own the whole energy that they are producing, not only the extra, but the ones that for someone like example. So yeah, the legal framework is like so far behind on the country. And yeah, it's like a chaos.
Because
But
they don't want to make it forward. They want
yeah,
to-
but it's always a way to find a solution. That's the point. I mean, you could find always.
Yeah,
a
you
way
have to become very creative. You spend a lot of energy trying to
and-
be creative.
I mean,
it's difficult.
that's the only way. I mean, that's the only legal, I would say, window that you could gap that you could utilize. Like even there is a policy gap in the commission. That framework it's like still allowed. So that's why we want to start getting a trend because they have a lot of power and a lot of flexibility to navigate through the legal aspect. The legal is the hard.
May I make a request before the projects leave? Please, in your next proposals and projects, put names that are unique. It's really difficult to find projects that have a name that is a common
Okay,
English
my
word.
next project is going for sure to call it unique.
You can call it, you can call it unique with a K, for example.
I had it with Greek letters.
I have interpret. It shouldn't be
Yeah,
that.
interpret is okay.
It's in this.
Just to give you a perspective, all the proposals that submitted had at least one Greek letter
Well, okay.
based on the physics or something. None of the partners could write it. None.
No one.
Oh,
Right?
I already
So-
have
so
problem
basic-
with accent that nobody can spell it properly.
There you go. If you put it, for example, with 2 S's, it would be a little bit problematic for another reason, but easy to find. Easy to spell.
I'm not so sure. Like
Are
probably
we offline? Or-
probably
No.
probably Google will be hard about the first findings from us. And
Yeah.
Okay, well, be creative.
all of us unique the next proposal.
Unique 1, unique 2.
Unique Pro. Raymond, we do a group picture?
Yeah, picture, sure.
But the financing is starting getting all the funds nowadays. So we'll try to see how you can.